And what if the truth you see every day, the carefully curated feeds, the spectacle of other people's lives on screen, are actually just shadows on a cave wall? It is in this silence that the awakening of consciousness begins. Perhaps you feel an existential restlessness, a subtle tiredness even when you are connected to everything. You feel the fertile emptiness of the soul calling, but can barely hear it between the sound of a notification and the urgency of the digital world. Plato's ancient allegory of the cave today seems like a dark prophecy for our spirituality. We are chained, not by iron shackles, but by invisible threads that make us confuse pixels with reality. Personal development requires the courage to turn your gaze, to question the images that society imposes on us. The Nobel laureate José Saramago, in his book The Cave, transports Plato's allegory to a world dominated by surface, where the hypermarket, the temple of consumption, becomes the new cave, seducing us to love the copies more than the source. Today, our hypermarket is the screen. This is an invitation to interrupt the inertia, to seek the brilliance of silent wisdom that lives beyond the digital shadows. Join us on this journey of self-knowledge to discover what hides beyond the shadows, in the raw and uncomfortable light of real presence. But to begin treading this path back to the light, we need to name the modern shackles. Where, in fact, does the cave manifest in our daily lives? The answer lies in the shadows that move on our screens. The digital cave and the modern bonds of hyperconnectivity. They are not bonfires projecting the shadows, but illuminated screens. The constant notifications and carefully curated feeds are our new bonds, blinding us to the life that is truly pulsing. They offer us an illusion of connection, billions of profiles, but how much listening to the soul and true understanding? Welcome to the digital cave. Think about the vase that is only useful because it has empty space. Our mind, full of stimuli and data, loses the capacity to welcome the new, the subtle. The excess of information makes the vase too heavy to serve contemplation. Inner transformation is only possible when we create the empty space in the chest. Kindness to the now requires us to sometimes close the windows of the external world to open the windows of the soul. What if our rush to like other people's lives is making us forget to live our own? If the screens are the walls of the cave, and the feeds are the shadows, we need to understand who lights the fire. Who is the invisible guardian who orchestrates what we are allowed to see and hear? They are the echoes in the algorithms that trap us in resonance chambers of our own limitation. How algorithms manipulate our perception of reality. The algorithm is our modern puppeteer. The personalized feeds are not neutral. They are mirrors that reflect and reinforce our pre-existing beliefs and prejudices. We are trapped in filter bubbles and echo chambers, where the truth of the topic of the moment is validated by popularity, and not by depth or fact. It is the noise that suffocates the voice of silent wisdom. The poet Khalil Gibran taught that the soul is often an island that rises in the midst of a vast solitude. In the age of algorithms, this island is constantly invaded. True solitude, the one that is fertile and necessary for inner listening, is replaced by a noisy isolation where we are surrounded by echoes, but empty of ourselves. You are not broken. You are in transformation, but the change requires silence for the new form to reveal itself. Practice conscious disconnection. Set a time in the day to silence all notifications and dedicate yourself to a single task, feeling your breath. Allow the wind of presence to become the only sound you need to hear for a few minutes. Wisdom is not just lucidity about the prison, but the courage to take the first step out of it. If our spirit cries out for a greater truth, we need a map, real tools. We now begin the journey beyond the scroll, seeking the life that pulses beyond the screen. Practical steps to free yourself from digital noise. Freedom is not in destroying the cave, but in ceasing to love its shadows. The first step is to cultivate emotional lucidity, what Stoicism called active acceptance, accepting that our attention has become the most valuable commodity. For spiritual awakening, we need to cultivate critical digital literacy, discerning what is useful information from what is just constant stimulation. The river teaches effortless fluidity. Life is not a straight ladder. It is a river that meanders. Instead of fighting to manifest quickly, invite yourself to fluidity. The inner path is one of non-resistance, of embracing the natural rhythm. This means rediscovering tangible experiences and genuine interactions. Touching the earth, feeling the wind, looking into eyes. Contact with nature is our reconnection with the sacred, the living proof that reality is richer than any digital render. The universe listens to you when you learn to listen to yourself. What would you find in your chest if you stopped chasing what is outside, on the screen? When the body finds nature, and the mind finds silence, the soul finds its original frequency. The effort to free ourselves leads us to a portal. It is the moment where the external noise ceases and the inner light, raw and intense, reveals itself. It is the brilliance of reality that arises from the pause and introspection. What is revealed when we step away from constant stimulation? When we step away from the noise, we face the uncomfortable truth, our own essence. It is the moment of deep work and introspection, where we recover the mental space for deep reflection. This is the key to reconnection. The Sufi poet Rumi said, "What you seek is seeking you." By silencing the excess, we stop seeking the light outside and become the lit lamp in the dark. The cure for pain, grief, separation, anxieties is not a magical promise, but a process of acceptance of what hurts, which becomes the portal to a deeper understanding. The seed that blooms in the dark. Your pain is a seed buried in the darkness. Inner silence is the water that nourishes it. Without the darkness of the cave, introspection, the seed does not have the strength to grow in search of the sun. The awakening of consciousness is this blossoming. What if the life you seek were waiting for you at the exact point where you decide to stop fighting the pain of stillness? Stillness gave us the vision. Now, the vision demands responsibility. The true master does not flee the world, but inhabits it with purpose. The final question is not just how to leave the cave, but how to live in the light and when to return to guide. This is the essence of enlightenment in the hyperconnected age. The true awakening of consciousness in the digital age does not lie in abandoning the tool, but in rescuing our autonomy over attention and information. The wise person does not break the scroll, they read it with discernment. Silent wisdom reminds us, technology should be used as a tool, not as a master. This is the redefinition of inner freedom, that of choosing where to anchor our presence. Remember the archetype of the mountain. It is stable, immutable, and observes the movement of the wind. We cannot stop the digital storms, but we can become the mountain. The invitation is to cultivate peace and inner strength that are not shaken by the noise of algorithms or the rush of the external world. Emotional healing is only sustained when our foundation is unshakable. The continuous search for truth is the essence of the inner path. The philosopher Plato taught us that, after seeing the light, the liberated person must return to the cave with compassion and wisdom, not to be chained again, but to guide. It is a plea for thoughtful engagement. True inner transformation manifests in the ethical and conscious use of our freedom. Leaving the cave is the spiritual awakening. Returning is the maturity of the soul that integrates light and shadow. What if our greatest virtue in this era is not the speed of connection, but the depth of the pause? I invite you to a brief internal ritual of silence. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. As you exhale, imagine that you are untying the last digital bond from your chest, releasing an invisible knot that held your heart. Repeat in silence, "I have rhythm. My soul is not in a hurry." Return to being the mirror that reflects the true light. If something inside you has calmed or awakened upon hearing these words, allow yourself to continue. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to walk with us on this road of fertile silence, discoveries, and reconnection. Leave your experience in the comments. Your sharing is also a seed of healing for other hearts. And if you are looking for a safe harbor to nourish this newly lit flame and find those who walk at the same frequency, our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. And to continue expanding your sanctuary of clarity, we suggest the video in the card. May it be a breath, peace and light.